I'm Drake Nyx, and you're watching Drake Nyx Vision. I'm an intuitive and soul guide, and I help people just like you find their purpose and passion, bring it out into the world in full force, and make the planet a better place while you're at it. Today, I want to talk about the hero's journey and why the slow, simmering, evolutionary journey is so important to our purposes unfolding. I'm going through my own hero's journey, trying to record this video right now, and it seems very fitting to talk about because it is very alive for me in this moment. We have entered into Mercury retrograde as of today, and so I think that is maybe contributing to my issues. I spent most of yesterday trying to record this. I got some new technology, a new O-ring. I don't know if that's what you call it, but I apologize if my lighting is not correct. I need to play with it a little bit more. I also got a new microphone, and that has been the bane of my existence. So I finally said, fuck it. And I am not using a microphone right now. So I hope that the quality of this comes in okay. It was funny because as I was trying to record this just now, this morning, I finally was like, oh, I'm on a roll, and like, things are happening. And then I was like 10 minutes in, my friend Jeff showed up, and I'm like, oh shit, gotta take a break, and I'll come back to this in a little bit. And so I chatted with him for a little bit. Also, hi Jeff, thanks for watching. And then I came back in to get started, and I re-listened to what I had recorded, and the microphone was so fucked up. And so none of that 10 minutes would have been viable anyway. And then I started trying to record again, and the neighbors were using like some heavy machinery, which I can still hear. Hopefully it doesn't come in too strong on this recording. It was really great because it was a perfect reminder about how the hero journey works, where we can have an intention in our mind of what we want to accomplish, but the energy that we bring into the action is so important. And so when I sat down today, I got all caffeinated and started talking, and as I just mentioned, like that was the progression of events. But then in coming back and not being able to jump right back into recording, I remembered that part of what I'm really trying to bring into my life right now is taking moments to really set the intention for myself, to ground myself. And so I took an extra 10 minutes to just really ground my energy, to tap into my higher self, to get a sense of how my system is currently functioning, and also to tap into the energy of all of those who will be watching this video, because that is an important aspect of how we use our energy fields. Is like this moment I am recording, but this will live on into existence through the interwebs. And so for, as long as we have the internet, people can continue to come back to this episode, and the energy that I put out will continue to affect each individual person who watches this. That's not entirely mind-blowing, but the more intention that we can put into it, the greater impact we will have for those who might benefit from it. So it was really beautiful to be able to take that step back, to be able to ground in and be able to apply that energy into what I'm about to talk about. Today, as I mentioned, it's all about the hero's journey, taking it slow. And so I have a few things that I want to cover. One is like, what does the hero's journey look like? I want to talk about ego versus service. So is it merely self-fulfilling? Is it merely stroking our own egos? Or are we showing up so that we can be of service and make other people better through what we do? I wanted to talk about, as you evolve, how the rest of us evolve, and vice versa, how as all of us collectively evolve, it helps the individual journeys of evolution, because we are all so beautifully interconnected. And then I also want to talk about how our nervous systems are going through big upgrades right now, and the shifting of our nervous systems as I see it, as I have been guided to teach on it at this point in time. And so we'll be talking about the nervous system and how important it is in our creative process and connecting with other people through the gifts that we share with the world. So that is what we will be talking about today. So talking about the hero's journey, most of us have some sort of mythos in our mind of what that journey looks like. The hero's journey has been shared over and over again through pretty much every culture through all of time. So I really love Women Who Run with Wolves. And I read this book about a decade ago and recently came back to it. And it's full of the hero's journey type situations, but also just the progression of knowledge and how knowledge is not linear. Knowledge requires struggle and pain and going into the depths of ourselves. Really recommend that book if you have not read it yet. It'll definitely unlock some different aspects of your psyche that I think are really important in this evolutionary journey that we're going through that will connect you even farther with culture and different places and time. I know more likely you are familiar with like the Disney version of the hero's journey. And so in that outline, we have our unsuspecting hero who oftentimes doesn't have the skills or knowledge or experience to fulfill the journey that is presented to them, which might be saving a princess or killing a villain or, saving a kingdom. Sometimes it's all of those three all together. It's the story that has been played out over and over again in various ways. And so in that hero's arc, the person sets out on their journey and they come into all kinds of obstacles that really make them question who they are, if they're capable, who they're becoming, and helps them to build really beautiful relationships along the way that then strengthen who they are and how they show up in the world. And so each part of the journey helps them to better define who they are and who they're becoming. And then eventually they come to this place where they have success and then they live happily ever after. At least that's where it ends. As we all know, life is a continuous cycle. Another type of challenge will probably come at some point in time. And so that's where we are on our hero journeys, is that there is never a happily ever after. There is a happy ever moment that we can live because it's all about living in the present moment and really feeling the expanse that is here. And so if you are in your happy moment, it's great to really embody that. Will the happy moment exist forever? Absolutely not, because we are here to go through these cycles of transformation. That is not a linear journey. It is cyclical and it rises. It is cyclical and it is expanding, just like you are, because as you go through your journeys, you start out as your little seed and you begin to grow in your energy field, grow in your influence, grow in your level of being able to handle responsibility so that you can give back more to the collective. The hero's journey is all about the cyclical nature of becoming. So we start out with birth and growth and learning and creating, and then we teach and then guide and lead, and then we lose and we grieve and mourn, and then we move into stillness, and then we come into potential, and then the cycle starts all over again. And so it's really important for us to see that within ourselves, because it is the cycle that continuously plays out in all things. Nature shows us this, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. We get a really beautiful trajectory of how the seasons move and flow and the really distinct changes that happen between each season. Those seasons live within us and help us to accumulate energies that bring dynamicism. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to use it. Dynamic energy to what we're able to create and offer. These cycles of evolution go on forever in ourselves and the collective energy on the planet. It's like in the Buddhist truths that, the only constant is change. Through our whole journey, we will always be experiencing cycles of change and growth and evolution. And looking at the universe is always growing and expanding. And we are part of that because we are constantly creating and exploring and going into new territory and adding to that collective knowledge and information and consciousness and energy field that just keeps expanding outwards. It's beautiful and awesome. As we go through the hero's journey, as we go through this expansive nature, that is what all of the collective of the whole is doing at the same time. As we go through this evolutionary process, I wanted to talk about the ego versus unconditional service and what is the motivating factor of why we are doing what we do. The ego is not bad. The ego is a really important factor in helping us to expand and to grow and to explore. It is the part of us that says, I want, I desire, I see this and I want to achieve it. It is part of our masculine masculine nature. I do like non-duality, and within that, I do see these qualities of masculine and feminine that exist within all of us, no matter where you are on the spectrum. And so within that like masculine energy of achieving, we are constantly like looking at the top of the mountain, dreaming of the mountain, and then doing what we can to climb up it, which then helps to progress knowledge, sciences, mathematics, artwork, teaching, building. All of these different areas require that egoic sense of I see, I want to achieve. I believe that I am able to do this, and so I am going to take the steps to make it happen. The ego has a healthy place within our relationship to our hero's journey. And as we go through the cyclical nature of the hero's journey at times can break us, make it really difficult to get back up. Some people never get back up fully, and that is part of their journey. And so I think it's important for us to look at, like as we're going through this, what are the tools that we have so that we can continue to empower ourselves to move through those really challenging circumstances and see that no matter what you are going through, it is all for your highest good. It is for your soul's purpose. It is offering something to purify your soul so that you can come back and be more humble, so that you can give from a place of a more heart-centered, loving nature, which reminds me that as we're going through this as well, we're moving from the head into the heart. We're moving into like, I see and I want to achieve, and like, I'm going to do all of these things. That doesn't leave us per se, but that energy moves down as we do our work, as we do our healing, and it begins to rest in our heart center, this place here. So the driver radiates out thinking about how I want to create because I want to bring beauty to the world. I want to achieve these things because I know it will benefit those around me. So it's a really beautiful progress, even when we are in those like darker moments, as we climb out of the muck, as we climb out of those darker places, we have more empathy. We have more of an understanding of the human journey in its entirety, and we're able to help more people because we have gone through the struggle. It's like when we get to the top and we see the person down below stuck in the same sinking pit that we were in, we're able to coach people through it a little bit more. We're able to hand them the right type of branch so they can pull themselves out because we have the medicine, because it comes from within, because we were able to find it by going through that journey and going through an experience that maybe wasn't exactly the same, but still gave us insight into how to help other people to move through those experiences quicker, or to hold space for people as they go through those experiences at their own time and rate, because that's important too. It doesn't need to be rushed. It needs to be savored. As we go through these experiences of learning and struggle and fucking up, it's really awesome to really look at all of the different aspects of what's happening in that moment, because you can see, oh, I'm struggling in this way. Like when I spin poi, I love the way that like as I'm moving my arms, right hand, left hand, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm doing it, but like I keep hitting myself in the head. Why is that? Well, my left hand isn't quite as developed as my right hand, so I have to spend extra time developing my left hand. Once I go through those processes and I eventually get the trick that I'm trying to learn, now I'm in a better place to teach it, because I kept making that mistake. When somebody else makes that mistake, I'm like, oh, hey, would you like some feedback? I think I know what you need to know in order to move through that. Then we become more successful teachers for other people. Then we become better leaders for other people, because we have fully got to know what there is to learn in that place and time and space around whatever it is that you're learning, so that you can turn around and be of use. Without the struggle, without going through those things, you're not necessarily a helpful leader, because in leadership, true leadership, evolved leadership, we are here to share leadership. It is not to lead over other people. It is not to walk on other people. It is to stand in a place of leadership and say, hey, I see you also rising up to become a leader. How can I help you? What are you going through? What are you trying to learn? How do I bring you up to a place where you too can be of influence to other people and continue to help other people on their journey in whatever way makes sense for that person? And that leads me into, as we evolve, you evolve. And as you evolve, we evolve, because we are all interconnected. So as I go through my evolutionary journey, the more that I can rise into my power and my full soul path, it creates an energetic ripple that goes through the universe and helps other people to more easily tap into that. The collective energy is The way that I'm seeing it in this particular metaphor is like Jello. And so as I am in this like state of Jello consciousness, as I do my work, the energy of the Jello that feels really heavy as I first start working on it, I actually transmute it. I am also seeing like in this, I'm like eating it. So I'm eating the Jello, and therefore it is creating a lightness in the collective consciousness because I am transmuting it within myself. This is generational healing at work. So as I'm transmuting this, as it comes out of me, it comes out of me as pure energy, as a lightness, as a healing energy that then begins to take on a life of its own, where it can start transforming the energies around me and slowly working on those Jello type energies, those dense energies that are really difficult to move through. Sorry, I'm like looking up here because I'm looking at the metaphor. Anyway, that is what I want you to think about within yourself, as like, as you're working on yourself, as you're working on this place where you are slowly doing this big transformation work that then makes it easier for the collective to all rise up at the same time. I've been thinking a lot about levity and how as we create levity within our own systems, we create that levity within the whole. And so it'll be easier for us to go through this transition into this like really beautiful world that is on the horizon, even though it might not look like it. If you were looking at the news or you're hearing from people who like drama, there is something really beautiful emerging that we can be looking forward to. This also reminds me, I want to take a step back. One thing that I teach on a lot is how the universe is constantly in conversation with itself. And so every person that you meet is reflecting back to you some aspect of reality that may or may not have anything to do with the reality that you're experiencing. So as you are taking in information, you are therefore creating the reality that you experience, for better or for worse. And there are two parts to this I want you to think about. One is, as you are creating your reality, you can put beautiful things into your reality that, I don't want to say ignorance is bliss, but also ignorance is bliss, because you are creating this little bubble where you can be happy and thrive and enjoy yourself, if that is the bubble that you choose to create. On the other hand, it is important to listen to the experiences from those around us. So you can't just live in a bubble and not hear that the way that you impacted somebody made them not feel good. Therefore, it is true for them. It might not be part of your reality, but it is part of their reality. If you don't listen to that information, if it is not important for you to listen to that information, that is how narcissistic tendencies get built. So it is important for us to listen to the realities of other people on our journey as we are going through the motions and learning and evolving and creating ourselves as leaders. And so when we're thinking about this idea that the universe is in constant conversation with itself, those other people that are telling you, either by the way that you've impacted them, or we can say, like the things that you are doing are not good for the planet. As we evolve, you have to learn how to take care of the planet. It's not like this just like shifts and one day you're just like pure spirit, like maybe that's your belief and maybe that will happen in like hundreds, thousands of years. We don't know exactly how long evolution will take place if that is where we're going. But in the meantime, you have to learn the things that you are doing that positively or negatively impact the immediate environments around you. Yes, there is a lot of like corporate policy that impacts the types of choices that we can make for better or for worse, but there's still things that we can be doing in our immediate circles to fine-tune the ways that we can better impact the communities around us, both humans and more than human beings. I will go into that more in future videos, but just think about that. The universe in conversation with itself, every person that comes to you, everything that you see, every piece of information that you take in is somebody else's view of reality or something else's view of reality and what it is experiencing. What are you going to do with that information so that you have the most whole, vibrant understanding of how the world works, and use that to better inform yourself to go out into the world and make healthier changes. The last thing that I wanted to talk about today is savoring the experience. And I did get into this already a few minutes ago about how as we're going through this process of our evolution, it's important for us to really come to terms with whatever it is that we're experiencing in the moment, for better or for worse. On the worst side, what are we gleaning? What information are we taking from the experience that we have gone through so that we can understand the struggles, understand, what doesn't work so that we can find solutions within that so that we can then then teach other people? And also, when we're going through something good, how do we really fully live in the moment to enjoy it and to allow ourselves not to feel like we have to rush into the next thing, and to allow ourselves to expand in the fullness of our beings because we're really enjoying the experience. As we're talking about this, I wanted us to look at our nervous systems, because what I've been seeing recently is that we have the older nervous system template that for a lot of us is pretty fucked up. There's a lot of things going on in the energies of the planet that make it really difficult for us to be in our bodies. So many people have anxiety or taking pills for it. Some of us have learned how to meditate and have other means, somatic practices, so that we can deal with these nervous systems. And I see that there is a new template that is coming into our systems as well that is overlapping the old nervous system. So for those on this evolutionary journey, there are two nervous systems that are right on top of each other. Similarly, the planet has the same thing going on, where I'm seeing there is like the old template of the earth, and there is a new template, a new nervous system, you could say, that is being imprinted, laid upon the earth herself. So we are tapping into both sides of that. As much as I would love to just like go into this like newer template that I am seeing come through and in my nervous system, which feels really good, the old nervous system, the one that struggles a little bit more and feels a little bit more and that is a little bit more uncomfortable, is really important because it feeds our creative side. It has memories of the trauma that we've gone through. It has stored information about the human journey, generational information that gets stored into the body that we're able to then take like a book. We can read the information, which is the work that I do with clients. I help them to read that information that is in their energy fields and then to bring it out. And we can bring it out in the ways of teaching, of poetry and music and all of the art forms. Primarily, the deeper and more that you can really attune yourself to our nervous system, like the denser nervous system that is currently going through this like big transition from dense energy to lighter energy, and eventually will be irrelevant as we come into this new upgraded system. All of that will be really important for our evolution. So I want you to pay attention to this. See if you can find it in your body. The denser nervous system that feels like really intense, that you got to move through, and the nervous system that feels really nice and light and kind of feels like it's drawing you upwards and outwards. Meditate with it and see if you can tap into it more, recognizing that both are important, both are going to be here for a while, and being able to draw from both systems is going to be of such help as we help people to walk the bridge between the old world and the new world that is existing. The old world of dense, I want to say third dimensional energy, this energy of competition and hate and greed and all the things that are destroying the planet. And then on the other side, moving into this higher vibrational energy of unconditional love, compassion, of relating, of cooperation, these intrinsic values of a system that really honors human beings and the beings that live here on the planet, because we're all evolving together. So don't rush the process. Enjoy yourself along the way. There's a lot to learn, so much that is coming in that is benefiting you and your evolutionary path and our collective paths together. We're all in it together. And I'm so excited to continue to have these conversations. Please comment. Let me know what you've been seeing. Do you have any big metaphors that have been coming through that also have been speaking to the hero's journey and how it's playing out for you and for the collective? I want to hear it. Any other questions, things that you want me to talk about? Again, I'm going to be trying to release videos every Wednesday. I'm also going to be moving on to TikTok, doing some Tarot Tuesdays, talking about how tarot works. So not just like reading tarot, but showing you what are the steps to develop yourself as a tarot reader, as an oracle. And then I might be doing some Thursday videos on TikTok as well. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching this video. Like, subscribe, reach out to me if you're looking for one-on-one sessions. My books are open right now for new clients, and it would be great to work with you. I hope you are all feeling the growth and the beauty that is here in life, even if you are going through some big challenges. If technology is fucking up on you, remember, this too will pass. It's an invitation to go inwards and to slow down and to be present with yourself. I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day.